Ba-da-bum, 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 ba-da-bum.
All right, week 4 NFL. Here we go. Finally, a good Thursday game. That's not the opening weekend with Thanksgiving. You get Philly at Green Bay. Two teams. That had aspirations coming into the season. The Eagles obviously have not been up to the task. They're coming in here at 1-2, and I tell you what, Green Bay's scary right now because they're playing defense and their offense hasn't really clicked yet. I mean, they've put up some points in a couple of games, but they're not the old Packers offense that we're used to seeing. And if they start getting it going, I tell you, Green Bay's going to be tough. A couple of weeks ago, I was like, who am I supposed to be worried about if I'm a Cowboys fan right now? And you always worry about Aaron Rodgers because he's always got his team in the game. Even if he's not putting up the numbers he has put up throughout his career. But Green Bay will win this game. But I'm concerned about Green Bay getting better as the year goes on, and they could end up being them and it could be them in Dallas. That end up the top two teams in the conference. There's that. But Green Bay will win Thursday. Sunday, early games, Tennessee at Atlanta. Two teams going nowhere. I'll take Atlanta, but no one cares who wins this game. New England at Buffalo. Now the Bills at 3-0. And obviously so is New England. Now the Bills, listen, they beat the Giants, they beat the Jets, they beat the Bengals, but they're getting this game at home, so everyone will be fired up. But this will be a game where Buffalo maybe will look good early, and then the game will get away from them. But New England, listen, New England's defense has not given up a touchdown in 4 games now, going back to the Super Bowl last year. It's crazy. I mean, yeah, the Jets scored 14 last week, but they had a muff punt and they had a pick 6 with Brady's backup in there. So the Patriots defense is just ridiculous right now. I mean, and Buffalo's a young team with some offensive talent, but and again the game at home, but you wonder if they're going to get completely shut out here. New England's going to win the game one way or the other. But we'll see if Buffalo puts up a fight here. See if they can, make the AFC East interesting, which hasn't been in 20 years. It's been all New England. But New England win this game. Kansas City and Detroit. Detroit, another surprising team at 2-0-1. They haven't lost yet. And now they get the Chiefs coming in. And, again, this will be a test for Detroit. Where again, like the Buffalo game, they look good early at home because everyone's fired up, and then the game gets away from them because nobody can stop the Chiefs on offense. But I do think this will be a more competitive game than New England Buffalo. But Kansas City will win the game. But keep your eye on Detroit. Kind of wrote them off early when they blew that game in Arizona and then in a tie. But they've come back with a couple of good defensive efforts, winning in Philly last week, beating the Chargers. So, this could be the game of the week, actually, Kansas City at Detroit. Obviously a lot of, big fantasy players involved in this one, but, you're basically getting that any time you get the Chiefs. But I'll take the Chiefs to win, but, don't be surprised if Detroit keeps this one more competitive. Oakland, Indianapolis. The Colts, I told you not to go to sleep on them. They're 2-1. Brissett looks legit. The Raiders are slowly morphing back into a mess because at the end of the day, they don't have as much offensive talent as it looked in the offseason when they had Antonio Brown. But, and Derek Carr, he hasn't snapped out of it. Listen, Josh Jacobs is a nice rookie. He'll be a good player. But The Raiders are starting to teeter, and if Indianapolis gets a strong, I want to take the Colts to win, but Indianapolis gets a strong win here. You can see Oakland's season go south very quickly. But I'll take the Colts in this one. Chargers in Miami. What can you say about the Dolphins? I mean, they just don't have enough NFL caliber players on a team. I mean, Josh Rosen, maybe can be something one day. They've got a couple of young receivers that could emerge as playmakers down the road. And Kenyon Drake's a serviceable back, but they don't have anybody. They don't have enough NFL caliber players right now where they're going to put up a win. Now the Chargers, they beat the Colts in overtime. They lose to Detroit. They lose last second against Houston. So they should take care of business in this game. The Chargers are a kind of team where it's like, all right, they're playing Miami. Maybe Miami, puts up a game here, and normally I would say that, but Miami just doesn't have enough NFL caliber players on their roster. The Chargers will win this game, but it's not going to be the blowout everyone probably thinks it is. But you should definitely pick up Chargers defense if you have them. Redskins at the Giants. Everyone excited about the Giants. Daniel Jones had a nice game against Tampa Bay. Great debut for his first start. He got in a couple plays in the Dallas game in garbage time, but this was his first start last week. He played well. Against a Tampa team that isn't great, but was coming off a big Thursday night win in Carolina. And now you get the Redskins, who this is Jay Gruden's last year. Whether or not he makes the whole year or not is up for debate. But Jay Gruden's not going to. This will be Jay Gruden's last year in Washington because they're a mess. They're just a mess. They've got some players on offense. McLaurin looks like could be a stud, but they really don't have. Peterson's running out the clock. They don't really have a running game. What's his face is still holding out. Trent Williams. They're just a mess as a team. The Giants are a mess too, but the Giants have hope. But of course they lose Barkley for a little while here. But I don't know if that's going to hurt them that much in this game. I hate picking the Giants because they're the Giants. But I think the Giants might win the game this week. The Redskins, I can't see them rallying. They're 0-3. The season's going nowhere. But of course you could totally see the Giants having a big letdown. Because let's face it. The Giants should be 0-3. Also, as great as Daniel Jones played last week, the Buccaneers should have won that game. But for whatever reason, Arians decided to back up his kicker 5 yards, which I couldn't even believe that when I heard it. I actually was not watching the game. Because I was watching the New Orleans-Seattle game. I was watching the garbage time as Tyler Lockett was just pouring on garbage points, and I was dominating in one of my leagues. I won 3 of my 4 leagues last week, but I was really killing it in my one league, and I was just keeping tabs on Tyler Lockett. So I actually missed the game-winning play. I had Mike Evans in that league too, so I'm surprised I turned it back off, but. I just figured Buccaneers would kick the field goal in the game, but I don't know. You back up a kick. That's got to be one of the dumbest decisions that you can make. You never back it up. The only time you even think about doing something screwy is if there's a weather situation. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. They deserve to lose the game. But who cares? I'm talking about teams that don't matter here. I'll pick the Giants to win, but who cares? Cleveland at Baltimore. Baker Mayfield's got to get it going here. I'm in one fantasy league. It's 2 QB Superflex, and I got Pat Mahomes as my 1, but then I got Mayfield in the 2 spot, and I should be dominating, and I'm not because Mayfield. I'm 4-2, but Mayfield's not picking up slack here, and he's got offensive weapons. I don't know what the problem is. Baltimore win this game Because again, I don't think Cleveland's heads in the game right now. They bought into their hype too much. Blah 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 blah. And the Ravens are probably going to win the division here because the Steelers and Bengals are gone. And once Baltimore beats Cleveland, I mean, they're going to be 3-0, right? Baltimore's 3-0, right? Going into this game, I don't think they've lost, right? Oh no, they lost the Chiefs. So what am I talking about? Well, they'll be 3-1. The Browns will be 1-3, and then the Steelers and Bengals will be 1-3, 0-4. So Baltimore can basically take control of the division here for good with this game, and I think they will. They'll win the ball game. Last Sunday early game, you get Carolina at Houston. Houston pulled one out last week against the Chargers. Carolina, Kyle Allen, put up big numbers against the Cardinals. I don't know that he's going to do it this week. I'm going to take Houston to win the game, but and again, I don't know if I'm going out on a limb here, but I think we've seen the end of Cam Newton in Carolina. I think that if Allen keeps playing well and plays well again this week, I think they're going to tell Cam, hey, listen, man, just make sure that foot's okay, 100% before you come back. But I think Cam Newton's time in Carolina is almost over. I think this Kyle Allen kid will be decent enough where they'll leave him in the game. But I'm wrong. I don't know. Houston's gonna win the game. That's fine. You get the Sunday late afternoon games. You get Tampa Bay at the Rams. The Tampa Bay just. Finally Mike Evans wakes up, scores a zillion points. Everyone's fired up. They're handling the Giants. Barkley is out, and they find a way to lose the game. I mean, it's just that's welcome to Tampa Bay football right there. That Giant game was just a perfect example. The Rams, listen, the Rams are 3-0. I thought they would regress this year after that bad Super Bowl, but they keep on moving. Goff has played well. The defense has played well. And they're going to win this week and get to 4-0. And again, the Rams are, look like they might be formidable again. I still think they're going to hit a wall at some point. But they've looked good so far, and they'll look good against Buccaneers. Seattle at Arizona. A couple of weird coaching decisions by Carroll last week in the New Orleans game. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but. And again, I was very invested in that game because I had Kamara and Lockett killing it, so I was watching every play. But just a couple of he didn't go for two at some point where it made sense to go for two. There was a bad call on 4th and half yard. And listen, when it's 4th and half a yard, like I don't really care what the game situation is or who your quarterback is or what. Just QB sneak and get the first down. Like teams get too cute when it's like. 4th and 1, all right, whatever. But when it's 4th and a foot, just snap the ball, get the first down. Seattle, they had a 4th and a half a yard. All Russell Wilson has to do is fall down, and he ends up scrambling around and throwing a 30-yard bomb over somebody's head. And it's just like, what are you doing? And I think they were in their own territory when that happened too. But just a lot of just weird decisions by Seattle, play calling. Coaching decisions. Again, there were a couple other things I can't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember in that game going like, what's going on with Pete Carroll? Like, I know he got hit in the face with football before the game, and maybe that affected him a little bit, but you just expect better than that from Seattle. Now I think they'll beat Arizona. This could be a high-scoring game because both these teams are not playing defense, and Arizona has enough skill positions where they might be able to hang there. But I'll take Seattle in the game. But that should be a good ball game. Minnesota, Chicago. Bears defense is ridiculous. And Washington was lost on Monday night. Chicago got in their head early, and and we'll see what happens because the Vikings, the running game's looking good. Stephon Diggs is nowhere to be found, and now watch him score 3 touchdowns against the Bears when everybody benches them this week. Take the Bears to win this game because I don't trust Minnesota. They've beaten Atlanta. They've beaten Oakland. They've lost to Green Bay. This will be their second test against a decent team. They lost the Packers. I think the Bears will win this game. But man, if they could just get a little bit of stuff on offense. The Bears' offense has regressed this year. But I mean, if they could just get some serviceable offense, the Bears will be good. But the defense can't carry them every week. I mean, the defense is great, but they can't carry them every week. But I think they'll beat Minnesota. And I tell you what, the NFC North, all four of those teams are in it. You can't count anyone else out. But Minnesota loses. I think maybe they drop to the back of the pack here. But I take the Bears. Jacksonville at Denver. You get your last Sunday late afternoon game. The Gardner Minshew experience. It might be real. Denver's defense is tough. Well, I mean, supposedly that's. I mean, they've got big playmakers on defense, but defense hasn't actually done anything this year. Denver has no sacks and no takeaways, which that's really hard to believe. But I don't know. I don't know. I think, and listen, Minshew's played well so far, but I have a feeling that Denver's defense is going to take advantage of him this week. And again, Denver's not a great team, but neither is Jacksonville. These are two teams that are not, going to be a factor this year. I'm going to take Denver to win the game. I'm not confident there just because they're just not a good team. But I think at home against a shaky Jacksonville team, they found a way to eke it out. And I think the defense has a chance to kind of blow it up this week and bring Minshew back to earth. But we'll see what happens. But again, these two teams are going nowhere, so whatever. We'll take Denver. We go to Sunday night, huge game. Cowboys at New Orleans. I mean, listen, Cowboys are off to a great start. Listen, they haven't played good teams. They beat the Giants, Redskins, and the Dolphins, but they did what he's supposed to do against those kind of teams. Now they get their first kind of real test, and again, Breeze isn't there, but everybody else is, and Bridgewater is serviceable. They got a big win in Seattle last week, so this will be a tough win. I mean, Cowboys will win the game, and again, it's not the same without Breeze in there, but this will be a good solid win at New Orleans on Sunday night for them to pull it out. Again, they played last year. It was a low-scoring defensive game. I expect a higher-scoring game this time around. If not, because I got Dak Prescott in 2 leagues, so I need him to throw like 3 touchdowns at least. So that would be great. Cowboys will win the game, and this will be the first nice win of the year against a quality opponent. And then you get Monday night again. Monday Night Football is it's sad right now with these games they're coming out with. I mean Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Listen, when they came out with the schedule, like, all right, divisional battle, the Steelers, blah blah blah. And now you're looking at 2 0-3 teams. Somebody's gonna be 0-4 after this, unless they both screw it up and come out of here 0-3-1. But I think the Steelers will win because they got to beat somebody, and this is a team you can beat. And the Bengals are just they're just there. They're not, they got a couple good guys in fantasy, but other than that, they're not doing anything. They're not going anywhere. They're not a good team. AJ Green is still out, but Boyd and Ross are serviceable. Dalton is a streaming QB if you're desperate. But they're just not good enough to win football games on a consistent basis. So I'll take the Steelers, but again, I'm glad my softball league is Monday night because I'm not missing anything with this ball game here. So there you go. All right, so there you go, week 4, and we'll look at the Cowboys Saints on Sunday night, and then we'll go from there. All right, football week 4.